Never. Am I represent? Yes, I'm representing myself.
Who's this young lady?
I'm the advocate for domestic relations program.
Just have a seat on the bench. Just have a seat on the bench.
Okay.
Close, you have a seat on the table.
Okay.
Opposite side, opposing counsel, your husband.
You can sit down.
Okay.
Didn't realize there was domestic violence in this case, but were you aware, John, of having an advocate here today?
There are allegations of domestic violence. Vincent Lauren, so the AJE, that's the agreed entry for a family wizard. I'm sorry, the agreement I put together for a family wizard, I put it in AJE form.
Okay.
So the party's okay with it. I made a few minor changes. Let me know if you're okay. If you are and you sign off on it, then the court will adopt it. And that way, this is something that's enforceable.
Is it actually going to be used, or
Well, hopefully.
seems to be issues with
Trying to
that?
add some teeth to it. Vince.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I mean, what do we do when people call the police and, you know, refuse to let kids do things, and there seems to be no real vehicle for controlling that?
Well, hopefully that'll be addressed today. I want this specific to our family wizard.
Okay. Can I get through it during lunch? Thanks.
I'll admit, not the most fun reading.
standard order appoints guardians as both, and I didn't think so.
Not in my experience.
Okay, so your understanding is in this case you're just GAO?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, if they wanted an attorney, they filed a motion for an attorney
Okay.
separate, yeah.
Good, okay.
I mean, I don't see a conflict anyhow.
No, I just think they weren't sure if you had a dual role or not, which I think it has to be separate, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can have it on the road, you can have it do a role,
Okay,
but you
it's
have
gotta
to
be
be, so
expressed.
if you can't,
Right.
if you,
Conflict between-
once a conflict arises, it is a dual role.
Between your best
technically.
interest and their desires.
Correct.
Right, once a conflict arises, then you move to a point of the court appoints a separate.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
in a way,
Goes back to
yes,
the-
yes, I definitely am,
Okay.
but since I'm advocating for the same thing,
There's no conflict at the
Correct.
moment, so.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. So I think the judge is gonna come out and start the hearing, or start whatever she's gonna start in a moment.
Perfect.
So, Vince, you're here with Mr. Goldschmidt?
Yes,
And
yes.
Mrs. Goldschmidt. And I understand you have an advocate here with you? Okay, this young lady? Okay, you just gotta sit in the back of the court and resolve. You can only have attorneys and parties at the trial table. Okay? So, pretty close, and, you know, the judge will have everything under control, it should be okay. All right? So the judge should be out shortly.
thank you.
What's the electrician's name? Luis. Sorry. How do you spell it? L-O-U-I-S?
L-O-U-I-S.
These are new texts.
Come on, how are you?
All rise. The Honorable Judge Francine Goldberg.
Sit down.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Morning. How are you, Dr. and Drs. Goldschmidt? Dr. Goldschmidt, Mr. Dr. Goldschmidt, look different. Did you like remove facial hair or something since the last year?
Showered.
Showered, that must be it. Okay. All right, so we're here on Matthew J. Goldschmidt for purposes of the court reporter. That's Goldschmidt versus Lauren, Lauren, middle initial D. Goldschmidt. And, this is case number DR 16-364202. And for purposes of the court reporter, can everyone say who's here?
Your Honor, my name is Vincent A. Stafford. I'm here on behalf of Dr. Matthew Goldschmidt.
Matthew Goldschmidt.
Jonathan Wilbur, guardian ad litem.
Okay,
Lauren Goldschmidt, pro se.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And just, so we're clear, we're here on a, dueling motion to vacate, and the dates that we will file, there's some housekeeping that I want to, discuss first and foremost before we get into the testimony this morning. Mrs. Goldschmidt, Dr. Lauren Goldschmidt, I just want to, before
I want to, yes, I am, but I don't have any financial means to do so.
Okay, well, that's what I want to talk about too. Have you spoken to anyone, after I signed off on a, motion to, Schwartz file a motion to withdraw as legal counsel? Okay? So this has been set for quite a while, and we're gonna go through the dates of when the duly motions to vacate have been filed. So you knew about this hearing, and there was a period of time when you could have obtained legal representation for purposes of this hearing.
Well, Lynn just withdrew not that long ago,
Okay?
and I wasn't able to, because it was on the record that I still had counsel. Legal aid couldn't even submit my application, and I spoke to other attorneys who could not at the time, because it was of the record, that I had an attorney on record until, I don't know, I don't know if it still shows.
Dr. Lynn Schwartz filed a motion to withdraw as counsel of record on April 26th of 2017.
And legal aid told me that it was still on the record and they couldn't even submit my application.
Your Honor.
No, not yet,
Okay, thank you.
not yet. Okay, so this is what I want to get to also. So you're claiming that you need money, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So before we do that, there's some other housekeeping that I want to go through, but it's come to my attention because I think that, there's a hearing set with Magistrate Michelle Edwards, I believe on, I want to say June 12th, for a motion to show cause and contempt hearing. Okay. Now my understanding, and I'm just saying this to Dr. Goldschmidt, male, that there were two payments of temporary support order. And temporary support order, magistrate's order, temporary spousal support was filed on February 23rd of 2017. And these orders were effective commencing October 24th of 2016. And, Matthew, you were to pay your wife $5,050 per month, plus 2%. And again, that's, effective, commencing October 24th of 2016. Now, my understanding through, the Child Support Enforcement Agency and through these records is that there were two payments. One was, I believe, on March 29th for about $4,000, and another one, I believe, on April 25th for $4,500. So we're a little bit short by about $28,548. So before we move forward on this, because I don't know if I'm gonna have to hear a motion to show cause and contempt hearing right after this hearing, where are we with regard to, hold on, Mr. Stanford, clearly this court, and with my experience as a former prosecutor, I'm all about access to justice, and clearly you want to level the playing field, and I'm not saying that your wife can't be a great lawyer, but let's be honest, you need the resources to be a good lawyer, or the skill set, and she doesn't have the skill set. So where are we with regard to the $28,548?
If I may.
Yes.
If you recall, Dr. Goldschmidt, under the order, pays about $14,000 a month in household expenses separately from the $5,000 that was ordered. And if you recall, Your Honor, we had a little bit of a pretrial review when she was represented by Sue Wallace. Before, and I would note, she fired Lynn Schwartz. Your magistrate conducted a pretrial with Ms. Schwartz, Mr. Wilbur, and myself. Lynn Schwartz indicated to us that she was terminated, not withdrawn, out of the blue. She gets fired by her client. Now that was the representation of Ms. Schwartz, because we had explicit conversations whether it was a motion to withdraw or a notice of withdrawal. Notice of withdrawal should be filed when you're terminated, and that's what she indicated that she was. So this was a decision not based on money. This was a decision based on her choice. Now, addressing the $28,000 retroactive nature of the support, if the court recalls when Mr. August was here, Mrs. Goldschmidt took $50,000 in cash at the end of October of 2016, for which we have never had an accounting for. $50,000 in cash, because if you recall, Your Honor, she said that she couldn't afford soap and shampoo for her poor children. What she didn't tell you is that she had secreted $36,000 out of the bank and took another check for $14,000 that she's never given us an accounting for. So what she did with $50,000 for November, December, January, February, March, April, May, we have no idea. But Dr. Goldschmidt has paid almost $20,000 a month, and the court only found his salary to be under $300,000. So, Your Honor, it's not hard to see where the money goes when you're paying $20,000 a month after tax, and someone takes $50,000 in cash out of the bank. So,
But for the record, these are allegations.
no,
Hold on, wait. And there's been no modification with regard to this $5,050 temporary support order. So we've got a motion to show cause at a contempt hearing. There's been, other than these two payments, and I realize and I understand what else he was ordered to pay. So are you telling me that Dr. Goldschmidt has had no intention of paying the $5,050 because he feels that his wife has taken money in a way or in a fashion that he didn't know about? I mean, I have no idea what the testimony was or what Magistrate Edwards heard. I want to know today if Dr. Goldschmidt plans on paying his wife the $5,050.
of course he plans on paying that.
I only paid
There's-
two payments.
The order's only 2.5 months old. It's only 2.5. The main payment's not even due yet, Your Honor. So he will make the main payment. In
Well, it's
addition,
retroactive.
the retroactive, that's every divorce complaint of the 1,000 divorce cases that come through the
And
system.
you'll
is the
be here,
retroactive.
and you'll be here at the final hearing asking me to give Dr. Goldschmidt credit for any and all payment that he paid. That's the way it's.
Well, that's the way it works, and the court will
Not
eventually,
necessarily, it might not work in this court.
the court will eventually have to account for the $50,000 in cash that she took. So, and, she also doesn't conveniently tell the court, she fails, if you recall, that he was giving her a credit card to use on top of all the money that she took. So, the money issue with this litigant is a red herring. That's all it is.
Well, and I will say for the record, when I've spoken to you by phone and in person, I have about, 425 of these green files on the docket. And they're all family, every single one of them. And I will not tolerate cases that go over guidelines. You can ask any attorney in this courthouse. I've been on the bench almost 2.5 years. We will not tolerate cases that go over guidelines, 18 months for children. There's no reason other than extenuating circumstances with regard to appraising a business or appreciation of a business, or if there are very, very high conflict custody issues where a case will go over guidelines in my courtroom. We take the Supreme Court guidelines very seriously, and we will do our due diligence to make sure and ensure that we are in compliance with that. Now, this court cannot help any type of conflict that arises between two previous lawyers, but I can't keep continuing cases, or I'd be in front of Maureen O'Connor, the Ohio Supreme Court Justice. But I'm going to give everyone a fair trial and a fair hearing today. We're going to move forward on that. But again, with regard to housekeeping issues, so when should Warren anticipate the next $5,050?
In the next week or so, Your Honor, I would expect Dr.
May 20th. It's automated. I'm trying to make up for the gap, but, like Mr. Stafford said, I pay a lot already, and trying to bridge the gap is difficult, so I'm working as best I can, Judge.
And this court acknowledges that.
Okay.
This court is also cognizant of, there wasn't a modification filed, and now I'm looking at, this court's looking at $28,000 bill.
I understand.
Your Honor, may I answer something about the,
Briefly, yes.
okay. So, the two payments that you said were made, I only received one. One I never received. So I have to sign an affidavit because it was the first check that supposedly came, which somehow was one of the first times he picked up his mail, so I don't know. And then regarding all the money,
Hold on, how much have you received since Magistrate Edwards' order, which was signed February 3rd of 2017? How much money have you received?
$4,500.
So you received that, was that the check on April 25th?
No, that was direct deposit when I finally got that
I
established.
have received this information through personnel that work for this court, so I don't know if there's an issue or a problem. Yes, Mr.
She's sitting on a $14,000 IRS refund that she refuses to disgorge, split, or do anything with.
I'm told
We've been
that
trying to find the tax refund for 6 months.
I'm told that if I sign that, that's consenting to whatever he filed, because we filed jointly, and there's some issues with the taxes
Of
that
course,
he filed.
because I'm sure she has reported my client to the federal authorities. She's reporting him to everyone that will listen, making all kinds of the most sinister, salacious allegations to destroy Dr. Goldschmidt. That's what you're going to hear today. This is truly going to be a very sad hearing, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's number one.
Could I
don't
fin-
know. Hold on. So May 20th, she's gonna get her check.
That's when it's
So I don't know if this
suspected.
figure's 28,000 or 34,000 or whatever it is, but in the meantime, we've gotta have some of this money paid.
I understand.
Your Honor.
Then wait, now, with regard to, and I just wanna clarify, and also for the record, this court, signed off on an order for drug screening, and, we did get, those results back from the Cuyahoga County lab, and, both parties were drug tested, and, everything came back negative, for both parties, so we just wanted to go on the record with that. Also with regard to, a judgment entry that I signed on February 28th, by filing, I signed it on, January 27th of 2017. It was prepared by John Wilbur, the guardian ad litem, and it is a motion for psychiatric review and clinical evaluation of the parties filed by John Wilbur. The court finds that ordering parties to submit to said review and evaluation are in the best interest of the minor children, and that both parties or both parents are under those psychiatric review and clinical evaluation. And I signed this, but there really should have been more specificity with regard to this, with regard to who is going to be, I understand, I think Dr. Newhouse was retained, and I just want to make sure, because I have to sign an order specifically stating that Dr. Newhouse is retained, and that will be paid for by Matthew Goldschmidt, and then both parties will be evaluated.
Well, that would be my expert. I think that order you're referencing was on whether we were sending everyone downstairs.
But
So-
I never signed an order, Mr. Stafford, with regard to Dr. Newhouse.
No, you didn't, because I've spoken to Dr. Newhouse, and I understand the cost and magnitude of his effort. I'd like to see the issues of today, to see if that short circuits certain issues, before we go down that journey. So,
Okay, so you're saying to me right now that Dr. Newhouse has not been retained?
I have addressed with Dr. Newhouse the issue. The last time we were here, he was supposed to be in court, but I could not find him to discuss the matter with him, which was when we were with your trial magistrate for the last retrial.
Because I know that Mr. Wilbur, the guardian, filed on April 7th of 2007, a request for custody evaluation and psychiatric review, and I don't know if he was thinking that FBS can't do psychiatric review, so we're not gonna grant that, but I do wanna know who's going to evaluate this, when you do know that Dr. Ezzo is leaving, court. And not only that, but it takes forever to get this done. And we are going to do a psychiatric evaluation of both parties. I want that to
redaction, you're making the redactions, Your Honor, or just the recommendations? I'm just trying to understand logistically.
Actually, the redactions will be done by my staff. I'll review them, and then they'll make the arrangements.
Right, but you have unfettered access, Your Honor, to the records for review, not the redacted version. I think the judge gets unredacted and unmodified records so she can evaluate, the court can evaluate the relevance and the appropriateness of information coming in.
Okay. All right, so now that we've done some housekeeping,
There's one more item of housekeeping, Your Honor. I think the notice also references a motion for temporary allocation of parental rights and responsibilities, 397201, which is also set for today with motions vacated.
well, my understanding is that we're here on both for dual motions. The motion to vacate was filed by you on October 28th. It's motion number 394034, as well as Lauren Goldschmidt's motion number 395034. That is set today.
And the notice also has the motion for temporary allocation of parental rights and
We're
responsibilities.
gonna hear the motions that you first and foremost.
Okay, I was just trying to clarify, Your Honor, for procedurally how to move
So
forward.
we're gonna hear those two motions first, and I will say also that neither of the parties are in compliance with Local Rule 12B, where a witness list shall be exchanged not less than 14 days prior to trial, or 3 days after receipt of notice of trial date, whichever is later. No party shall be permitted to call any witness except for other witnesses whose name was not included on the witness list. So what we're going to do is we're going to limit the testimony of this hearing. I can't anticipate it being that long. We'll hear from the parties and the guardian, and that's going to be.
That's all my presentation of evidence was planning to be, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. A brief opening. Your Honor, the parties have two magnificent kids that reside in their marital residence in Orange, Ohio. The oldest child is a sophomore at Orange, Abby, and she's going to be 16. The youngest child is approximately 12, Marissa. Bright, intelligent children who have been sucked into the nightmare of their parents' divorce. Parties are residing together, although Dr. Goldschmidt tries to limit his time in the residence due to a multitude of activities and nefarious actions of Mrs. Goldschmidt. This includes physical violence by Mrs. Goldschmidt upon Dr. Goldschmidt. You'll see photos of markings, scratches, skin removal, blood of when she attacked Dr. Goldschmidt immediately prior to filing for divorce. You will receive significant testimony about the environment of the marital residence that is caused by Mrs. Goldschmidt, which absolutely not only terrorizes Dr. Goldschmidt, it terrorizes the children. This is one of the worst cases I think the court will see of a parent manipulating children. You will receive information on continuous and systematic calling of the police with false claims to have Dr. Goldschmidt arrested. You'll hear about threats to have Dr. Goldschmidt's medical license revoked by the state board based upon Mrs. Goldschmidt's claims. You will hear evidence that she contacts professionals in Dr. Goldschmidt's business, informing them that he's a fraud, that he is an abuser, and every type of dirty laundry to destroy someone's personal and professional reputation. You'll see the emails that she sends to people about her husband. You'll receive testimony about how she has a direct conflict with the party's oldest child. She calls the police to have the child arrested on a multitude of occasions. She takes the child's phone as punishment. She refuses Dr. Goldschmidt to have the simplest relationship with his children. You also hear evidence, and you'll see pictures of when Dr. Goldschmidt has a lock on his bedroom door to escape her activities, she drills out the lock. What does she do then? She removes the draperies. She destroys the bedroom, dumps his clothes. And what else does she do? She hides cameras in the house to watch him. Then when he comes home, she calls the police. You'll hear from the guardian ad litem in his investigation. This is truly a case that I have not seen where a guardian ad litem has filed a motion to give temporary possession of children to a litigant in the middle of a divorce case based upon the reprehensible and intentional conduct of Mrs. Goldschmidt. These children, the evidence will show, are being destroyed. She made the most heinous allegation that a parent can make against another parent, that he somehow is sexually grooming his daughters for abuse because he took them out for a seafood dinner that had oysters. She called the police. She went to the school. She called the Department of Human Services and impersonated someone to try to have him investigated for child abuse, that he's sexually grooming. Now, this is an individual that claims that she was sexually abused by her family, that she was sexually abused by a former boyfriend, that she was raped by her former boyfriend that was renovating one of her homes. This is a person that destroys everything she touches. And now the kids are being destroyed. These beautiful kids now have mom terrorizing them at school. These beautiful kids are now being threatened to be arrested at their home because they want to go to dinner with dad. You'll recall, Your Honor, the evidence when you took your time on a Friday afternoon to try to resolve the issues of these parents on spring break. Dr. Goldschmidt had put his information in Family Lizard. It was ignored. Information came in a day before he was supposed to leave that she suddenly has plans and she's not going to allow it to happen. Within hours of our conversation, she claims the child tries to kill herself, and off to the hospital they go. Child doesn't support what mom says. Dad has to go and retrieve his child, but she makes such a scene at the hospital. She claims that she tells everyone who will listen, you'll find the evidence, that she scoured the community with the police looking for the child. Your Honor, the evidence will show this is a disaster of a household. She's there constantly. These kids have no escape from her at all. The oldest child has voiced the evidence we received. She doesn't want to live with mom. She wants normalcy. She wants to be 16 years old. Mom doesn't allow it. You'll receive the evidence. You'll see, you'll hear the testimony about the constant threats to be arrested, the police involved. The police now, you'll receive evidence, they don't even respond. They come out to the house. They find her drinking, making allegations, showing them temporary protective orders that don't apply to the case, demanding that he be arrested or thrown out. When you call the police over a dozen times in a couple months, it really loses its effect for the police. But this is what happens every time he goes to the house. Now she has her parents living at the house, up from Florida. So, Dr. Goldschmidt has his in-laws now at the house, and his ex-wife, who wants to have his medical license revoked, him arrested. He's a sexual abuser. He's a physical abuser. He's a liar. He's a fraud. Whatever she makes up, her scorched earth, that's what you're going to hear. Thank you.
I'm just going to make one big blanket objection since I don't have an attorney. Everything pretty much was untrue. I don't know about going through and addressing every single one of these lies, but I'll start with that my parents are in the house, and my father is going to be getting his cancer treatment at the Cleveland Clinic. Florida, they were going to just zap his cancer, which wasn't going to eradicate it. So I convinced them to come up here to get the best treatment, and it was also sort of a shirt. We were trying to save each other because the police had advised me it would be best to
Objection.
have. I didn't object to you, and it's rude to interrupt. So I didn't interrupt you once.
Honor,
You can
I'm
right?
addressing the court.
I want to get a chance to talk.
Your Honor,
I didn't
want to speak.
interrupt you because I don't have an
I'm
attorney.
just addressing you, Your Honor. It's a valid objection. The police aren't coming in.
So the
I'm not going, Dr. Goldschmidt, I'm not gonna allow you to get into the police. Why don't you just give an opening statement in regard to the parameters of this motion that you gave?
okay.
Just stand up and use the podium.
Oh, okay. So
Go ahead. Take your time.
so my parents are up here. They're going to get the best of care. They had, actually, my mother came, who was otherwise healthy, and she was just in the hospital on Sunday as well.
Objection.
After learning the news of this, this motion to take the children, we thought had a stroke. She was released a couple of days ago. But my parents are up here, they have a little old dog, and there is no place else for me to go. Even if I went back into the shelter, they won't take any mails, and I have no place else to go. So I know that he has been for the 9 months elsewhere, comes seemingly once every 29 days, and I have no place else to go. My parents would have no place else to go. And that's really just addressing the motion to vacate. The other issues that Mr. Stafford addressed, I would prefer to have an attorney. Although I could address all of those, I'm sticking with vacate, I guess, right now. Unless you want me to answer on any of those things, Your Honor.
Okay, well, this is just within the parameters of the opening statement in terms of what you anticipate the testimony will be, and giving an overview with regard to your filing, that Steve Audis filed motion number 395-034, which he filed on or around November 30th, 2016.
Okay, so if I'm expected to be, prepared to defend myself for the motion to vacate, I don't feel comfortable because I don't have an attorney with me. And I did not fire Lynn. In fact, I begged her not to abandon me. She told me that she was being threatened, harassed, and bullied. And when I asked her, because she was paid in full, if she was afraid I couldn't pay her, she interrupted me at afraid and shouted, "I'm not afraid of anything." And I said, "Let me finish, that you won't be paid."
All right, but your relationship with Lynn Schwartz has nothing to do with regard to moving forward on this motion to vacate.
Okay. I just would like to have representation, I guess. I'd like to have an attorney, and I don't, feel that Mr. Safford is making it a doable, I don't know if you got my answer this morning. I filed an objection to, did you get the objection, Your Honor?
With regard to the custody issue?
Yeah.
We did receive that yesterday.
Okay, and I included in there how I do need an attorney. I'd like to have a level playing
She owns an apartment building in Sugar Falls that has an apartment inside it.
There's no water in there.
She-
There's no ability.
She
There's
claims she paid
it's
$10,000
being
water.
assessed for taxes.
She claims that she paid $10,000 for a water bill. She has a place to live. There's a full building in
I
Sugar
haven't
Falls.
paid it. I can't pay it. I've been on a
Are
payment
you
plan.
done with your opening statement? That's what I want to know.
Well, I would like to, address that. I just don't feel safe in the home, and I have not made any false calls to the police. I do have, police who have been calling me to check since Abby's suicide threat,
Sure,
and I
sure.
think it would be best if they stay in their environment with me, who has been trying to, give them as best a normal parenting without the hostility of divorce. Abby and I have our differences because she's a 15-year-old girl, and I told her, and she understands, that I refuse to let up on giving her the guidance that she needs, and she appreciates that. And when we have our differences, which is healthy and normal, she is appreciative, and she's having a hard time. And I've been trying to get her as much of the therapy and support as possible, regardless of the excuses and obstacles that come our way. I think that a change.
Okay.
Okay.
Again, we're gonna get a chance to hear you testify in oral, so I'm gonna, if you wanna just conclude with like 2 or 3 sentences.
Just the last is I'm just worried about the children, and I want them to maintain consistency and have me there. Marissa is cooking all the time with me. We spend so much more time in the kitchen than we ever did because it was frightening.
I'm sorry, did she say frightening, Your Honor? Because it was frightening?
Yeah.
Read that back for the record.
Marissa has been cooking with me. She has spent more time in the kitchen than we ever did because it was frightening.
Thank you.
Okay.
I guess that's it. I don't know.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Staff is fine for some-
Your Honor, I would like to call John Wilbur to the stand.
May I refer to my notes on the stand or not?
I have no objection.
You may.
Your Honor, may I question from this area rather than relocating? Thank you.
Someone swear upon the testimony you provide will be true and accurate to the best of your ability. Please say it.
I do.
May I inquire, Your Honor? Thank you. Mr. Wilbur, good afternoon. Can you please state your name and your business address?
Jonathan Wilbur, 13940 Cedar Road, Suite 246, Cleveland, Ohio, 44118.
Your Honor, I have no problem stipulating to his qualifications as a guardian ad litem as appointed by this court.
All right, and this court will qualify him as an expert for guardian.
Mr. Wilbur, you were appointed as guardian ad litem on behalf of the 2 Goldschmidt children?
Correct.
And in that capacity, could you describe to Judge Goldberg, I'm sorry. Could you describe for the judge the scope of your investigation in this case?
Yes, so to date, I met with the girls, I want to say 3 or 4 times each. I met with them in the residence, and I met with them in school on at least 2 occasions. Most recently, I met with Abby earlier this week. I guess that was yesterday, and I met with Marissa on the 24th of April. My concern, and the reason that I filed my motion to appoint
In the scope of your investigation, did you have an opportunity to talk to Matthew Goldschmidt?
I did.
And have you found Dr. Goldschmidt to be forthcoming with information following your requests, gathering information that you requested in this case?
I have.
And have you found Dr. Matthew Goldschmidt to be truthful to you in his disclosures?
I have.
Have you had the opportunity to discuss issues with Mrs. Goldschmidt?
Yes.
Have you had the opportunity to listen to her concerns and issues that she has raised?
Yes.
Have you had the opportunity to investigate allegations that she has made concerning Dr. Goldschmidt?
I have.
Have you had the opportunity to investigate allegations that she has made concerning either or both of the minor children?
Yes.
Part of the investigation that you have made, have you received information from the Orange Police Department?
I have.
Could you describe for the judge the nature of the police involvement at the household that you've been able to investigate?
Yeah, the police involvement has ranged. The majority of the calls have to do with Mr. or Dr. Goldschmidt being at the residence, and with mom doesn't want him there. She says that she's uncomfortable. She fears for herself. The reports specifically note that there's no violence. There's no concern for violence. Yet Mrs. Goldschmidt consistently refers to a restraining order that was issued by this court, I want to say last November, before I was appointed, and has since been rescinded as a reason that Mr. Goldschmidt cannot be in the home. The police know at this point that it's not anything that's relevant or pertains to this specific instance. The same thing that was utilized for children and family services and for the school as an attempt to, in my opinion, limit Mr. Goldschmidt's involvement.
Now,
I'm sorry, let me add one more thing. The other calls to the police department have been with regard to parenting issues, being able to get Abby into the car. 2 calls went out in 45 minutes because she wouldn't go into a car for a trip. There was another call about Abby and allegedly being suicidal. Again, these are calls that are difficult to substantiate, but I do not believe that they warrant police involvement.
now, when you say difficult to substantiate, do you mean that you couldn't find facts that would support mom's allegations that she's making to the police?
What I've read, and the police officers and the detective in particular with whom I've spoken have indicated that a lot of what mother claims, for example, violence, like I mentioned before, the TPO, that they're just not anything that is germane, that Mr. Goldschmidt has every right to the residence, as does mom. And there really is no concern at this point in time. The police department is frustrated, and it's not only been Orange Village, it's also been Beechwood and Northern Hills and everybody.
Why would Beechwood police be involved in this case?
My understanding, and I want to preface this by saying that mom has limited her communications with me as of the last few weeks. So what I have is some stuff that I independently corroborated, some stuff from Mr. Goldschmidt, that in that instance, Mr. Goldschmidt had taken the girls to Beechwood Mall, and mom had contacted the Beechwood police looking for them. What I don't, mom obviously denies this, however, if you don't typically call Orange Village, however, to call Beechwood, which is the only time they would call, clearly you know that they are at least in the confines of Beechwood.
Have the police been involved in the children's school through your investigation?
There was an incident 2 Fridays ago where apparently Abby had texted both parents to pick her up. They had gotten there, and there was discussion with Principal Paul Lucas as to who will take her home. And according to Principal Lucas, mom came with Pepper Pike Police, and I believe that there's a Moreland Hills officer who is whose position is actually in the school and is their officer there.
How did your ward feel at school with 2 to 3 different police departments
she was in another location. She wasn't out there in the midst of everything. But she was embarrassed. And I think that is one of my concerns is it's a constant source of embarrassment.
She is.
I'm sorry, she being Abigail, the oldest. I mean,
What
please.
grade is she in?
She's in 10th. The parents, I'm sorry, the police are constantly at the house. There was an ambulance there for the parent with suicidal ideation. This is something that just keeps on going, and I think that it's terrifying and confusing and embarrassing to a child of that age.
Do you think it's in your ward's best interest concerning their mental health that the court make a decision to award the house issue for their children's own mental health and well-being?
I do, however, let me qualify that. I think the most important issue for this court is decision-making authority. Clearly, the parents have demonstrated inability to communicate effectively and make decisions together. That ties in obviously to the home. However, as far as I'm concerned, how that is divvied up, who moves in, who moves out, isn't that much of a concern as much as who gets to make decisions on a regular basis.
Mr. Wilmer, you brought up a valid point. The issue of communication. The court has issued an order for our family wizard. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have the access and the ability to review and monitor the wizard.
I do.
How would you describe Dr. Matthew Goldschmidt's use of family wizard in his efforts to communicate with his spouse?
So I review it probably twice a week, and if parents specifically refer me to any entry, I'll immediately go check it out. I did have the parents sign off on informal agreement in the sense that it wasn't a court order, although I intend to change that, laying out some ground rules so that we know how to utilize it and not use it as a source to air grievances or to complain or to blame the other. In that regard, Mr. Goldschmidt, I think, has used it appropriately. He's used the calendar function appropriately. And one of the rules that I asked him to follow was that since there is no parenting time at this point allocated, and whoever puts down an entry first is the one that gets that entry, assuming it's reasonable. This was the issue we had with the Florida trip. And all that being said, to go back to the original question, I do feel that he used it appropriately and followed the rules that I'd asked.
Well, Mrs. Goldschmidt.
My biggest concern, Mrs. Goldschmidt, in the use of our family wizard is the responses are not terse. The responses are not on point. I'm sorry, terse. They're not on point. They ramble. One of the provisions in the agreement was, again, not to use this as a forum to attack. And constantly, despite emails from me asking again and again that it be used simply for communication, information back and forth, it's used in that capacity. And obviously that confuses things and that limits the efficacy of the tool.
And who's causing that problem?
That's Mrs. Goldschmidt.
As it relates to the children, the minor child, Marissa, she's old enough to have her own bedroom, correct?
Yes.
Is there any sleeping arrangement issue that you have viewed as problematic that has developed during this case?
So when I first got on this case, I was advised that actually both Mrs. Goldschmidt and Marissa that they co-sleep.
And that
Co-sleep. Now, I was recently advised that they no longer co-sleep the entire time, they do about half the time. But the part that bothers me is that Marissa advised me that mother gets into her bed or her bedroom after she's ready to sleep, and tells me that it's not there to comfort Marissa as much as there to comfort Mrs. Goldschmidt. And in fact, sometimes she's on her phone
concerning this divorce case?
There are a lot of concerns in that regard. There have been allegations that Mr. Goldschmidt had an affair, that Mr. Goldschmidt went out on a boat and had adult entertainment. All of these things were repeated to me almost verbatim to how I just stated them by Marissa.
Do you find that to be appropriate?
I find that very inappropriate and very concerning.
Who was the source of that information?
The source, as far as I'm aware, is mother, Mrs. Goldschmidt.
What else?
There's one additional issue, or instance, I should say, where Marissa and Mom were driving back from a hockey tournament on the weekend, and Mrs. Goldschmidt, according to Marissa, was playing some recordings of interactions she had with Mr. Goldschmidt in front of her, which I also found highly inappropriate and concerning.
So has father in this case indicated to you that Mom surveils him in the house when he's there?
Yeah, I witnessed the cameras that are there. Mom admitted to me that she uses them to spy on Mr. Goldschmidt to make sure he's not spying on her.
Does he also indicate that she walks around with a recorder and records things he says or conversations he's having?
My understanding is that both parents have their phones out recording each other.
Now, did you have the opportunity to investigate a situation where Mrs. Goldschmidt drilled out the bedroom lock, Dr. Goldschmidt's bedroom?
That prior to my involvement, I have seen the pictures of it though.
And from your investigations, what did the pictures depict?
So there was an instance where apparently Marissa couldn't sleep and she wanted her father.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
I'm sorry.
Slow down a little bit.
Okay. There was an instance where Marissa went into the father's room one evening, couldn't sleep. He closed the door because according to him, his mother was disruptive, and she called the police because she couldn't get in, and then she drilled the lock out in order to open the door.
When was this?
Just was October of 2016.
Was the child sick that night, you recall?
I don't recall.
Now, when the lock was drilled, Dr. Goldschmidt wasn't at home, was he? He was gone.
That I'm not aware of.
Do you recall seeing photographs, and I'll mark these in a second, photographs of Dr. Goldschmidt's bedroom after she drilled out the lock?
I saw photographs, yes.
And what did those photographs depict, if you recall?
From what I recall, it was just a lock that was drilled out and rendered useless. I don't recall any other specifics.
We'll mark all of these as one, Your Honor, minus one. It's a series of seven photographs.
Thanks.
I need those, just read them, please. Thank you. Yeah, purchase a witness.
Yes, and I marked this as
Sure.
you don't mind. Sure. Judge, do you have a stapler by any chance? So we can pull these together or get my
Do you recall receiving or viewing photographs that Dr. Goldschmidt had concerning the state of his bedroom with the lock and the like?
Yes.
Are those photographs consistent with the information you received in the course of your investigation and/or exact copies of the information that you reviewed?
Yes.
The first photo, what does that depict?
It depicts a lock, bedroom lock, with the sensors drawn out, so the lock.
Did
component is
Matt,
drawn out.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
It depicts a bedroom lock where the center lock is drilled out, rendering the lock portion useless.
did Matt indicate to you that that was his bedroom lock?
He did.
Did Matt indicate to you that the contents of his bedroom were dumped and strewn throughout the bedroom and into the hallway of the house?
Yes.
Did the photographs in Plaintiff's Exhibit 1, are those the photographs that Dr. Goldschmidt gave to you or provided to you to review in the course of your investigation?
Yes.
Do they demonstrate an appropriate, or do they demonstrate that his goods and possessions were strewn about his bedroom and dumped?
It does.
Was there anything unusual that Dr. Goldschmidt stated that happened to the lights and the drapes and the blinds in the bedroom and the bathroom?
So I don't recall the lights per se, although there is a picture here. I do recall the drapes being pulled off the walls.
Did Mrs. Goldschmidt, did you ask Mrs. Goldschmidt if she did this?
I did ask Mrs. Goldschmidt about this.
Did she deny doing it?
No.
Do you find that to be appropriate?
No.
Do you find that this type of activity of destroying someone's possessions, screwing them about, is a healthy environment for your children to live in?
I do not.
Dr. Goldschmidt also indicated in the course of your investigation that he was physically assaulted by his wife immediately preceding the divorce, correct?
Yes.
He has continuously told you that he is fearful of what his wife is capable of, correct?
Yes.
The fear that he has expressed to you, has it been physical fear of what her attacking him?
In part.
Has a fear been that she's trying to set him up for domestic violence?
Yes.
Fear that she is trying to have his medical license revoked?
He has stated that, yes.
Now, in your investigation in this, have you received evidence that Dr. Goldschmidt was attacked physically by his wife?
I saw pictures of scratch marks on his neck and back.
Andy, what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2? I'm sorry. Being marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2. Can you identify those two photographs, please?
Okay, these are photographs that were previously sent to me of one is apparently the neck and back, I guess shoulders of Mr. Goldschmidt with it was like 3 or 4 long scratch marks. And the other one is an arm that appears to also have scratches on it.
Did Dr. Goldschmidt indicate to you that that was him?
He indicated that this was following an incident with Mrs. Goldschmidt.
And he indicated that Mrs. Goldschmidt caused those injuries referenced in the photographs.
He did.
Thank you.
And do we have a date for that?
Do you recall if this was in August or September
August.
of 16?
I want to say August.
Now, I asked you a couple minutes ago about fears that Dr. Goldschmidt has relayed to you regarding what she has planned for him. Have you seen a pattern through your investigation of Mrs. Goldschmidt attempting to cause any type of harm, personally or professionally, to Dr. Goldschmidt?
I have in several regards. I have notes that numerous incidents, numerous notations of Mrs. Goldschmidt having several different people, including the children's psychologist, including her own psychologist, including Children and Family Services, including the social worker at Orange High School, that she is grooming, that Mr. Goldschmidt is grooming the children, in particular Abby, for sexual
has come up in your investigation?
Yes, according to the records that I've seen, she was the subject of repeated abuse as a child, both sexually and physically.
By who?
By her father and brother.
Oh, so she claims her father, who's now living in her house, sexually abused her, right?
Well, she doesn't claim that. That's what the records reveal.
Okay. Do you recall which records?
From Ruth Pecha, P-E-C-H-A.
And who was Ruth Pecha in your investigation?
She was a psychologist or therapist that the mother treated with.
Mother's treating psychologist in the notes says that she claimed that she was a victim of sexual abuse by both her father and her brother, repeatedly.
Well, I don't recall if the brother was sexual abuse.
I'm sorry.
I believe he may have been the physical
It was
abuse.
physical abuse, but unequivocally the father was the sexual abuser.
That is my understanding.
I want to be perfectly clear on this, Ms. Wilbur. You have invested how much time and effort in this?
Dozens of hours, I don't recall offhand.
And this woman claims to her own medical professional that her father sexually abused her as a child, correct?
So let me be clear. There aren't quotations in the records. I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. What the records reveal is, for example, history of sexual abuse by, in this case, maternal grandfather or her father.
Her father.
So it doesn't quote her per se, but that's what the records reveal.
Mr. Wilbur, your wards are now living with a sexual predator in their house. Have you addressed that with Mom?
I just found out earlier today that he's there on a more permanent basis. My understanding was that it was a visit.
So a 12-year-old girl is now living with someone who sexually abused Mrs. Goldschmidt, now on a full-time basis, and she's allowing it to occur.
She's allowing the grandfather to live there, as far as, again, I learned today. This is something that I will investigate further. I do understand that he's ill, and obviously, her childhood was in the not recent past, it dates back. However, obviously, it's concerning in any instance.
So it's concerning that, well, let me understand this. Today, while you sat here during her opening statement and heard that the family, her father is living in the household with your two female teenage client or wards, is now in the same roof as a sexual abuser of Mrs. Goldschmidt. Just want to be clear. Does that cause you concern for your ward's physical and psychological well-being as you sit here today?
Again, I have not investigated in terms of knowing the physical health of the grandfather, but in fact it is concerning, yes.
Mrs. Goldschmidt also claims that she's been sexually abused by others, correct?
Yes.
She claims that a electrician that was working in her home or her dental office raped her, right?
Yes.
That allegation of rape came after Dr. Goldschmidt found the sexualized text messaging between Mrs. Goldschmidt and her contractor, correct?
That's my understanding.
Dr. Goldschmidt, when you ask him about that, clearly says that she made up that rape allegation.
Yes, he did.
So, one of the allegations by Mom is that Dr. Goldschmidt is grooming his daughter for sexual conduct, correct?
Yes.
One of the mom's ideas was that he fed the child oysters at a seafood restaurant, correct?
That has been reported to me, yes.
Dr. Goldschmidt was disgusted by those allegations when you addressed that with him, correct?
Correct.
Do you know if Mrs. Goldschmidt made a referral to the Department of Children and Family Services for sexual molestation issues involving Dr. Goldschmidt?
According to the records, yes.
Did you find that her reporting of that was a design campaign to destroy Dr. Goldschmidt?
I can't speak as to her intentions, but according to the records and the worker with whom I spoke, Mom called impersonating a prior social worker from Orange High School who felt that she was pushed by Mrs. Goldschmidt to file and to call into the hotline.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just so we're clear, Mrs. Goldschmidt impersonated a counselor.
Well, according to the records, she impersonated a prior referent.
Deceptive in your opinion?
Yes.
Intentionally deceptive in your opinion.
Yes.
Designed to cause harm and permanent damage to Dr. Goldschmidt?
To a very decent relationship with his daughters, yes.
Did you investigate the allegations of sexualized grooming being raised by mom?
I did.
Did you find a scintilla, a piece of any evidence that would remotely substantiate such a ridiculous proposition?
There was nothing indicated to me by any evidence, by any conversations, by interviews with my wards, nothing at all.
Now, you said that someone at the Orange High School was pushed towards referral. What does that mean?
She advised me that Mrs. Goldschmidt told her that if she did not call in as the obligated reporter, that Mrs. Goldschmidt would report the fact that he or somebody that should have called but didn't. So she was threatened to make the phone call.
Is that like, did I just hear triple hearsay or what?
It was the triple Lindy, Your
I
Honor.
don't know what that was. We like refrain from.
Sure, I'll try to. But given the magnitude and the disgusting nature of what we're actually doing that this person is doing, I think you might give it some leeway. Now, Mr. Wilbur, as it relates to Abby, has mom called the police on Abby?
On a couple of occasions.
Threatened to have this 15-year-old girl arrested?
Yes.
Seem appropriate or inappropriate?
It seems inappropriate.
What was the net effect upon your ward?
So I cannot speak as the net effect, but obviously it is concerning. Obviously it is embarrassing to her. She has advised me that she feels that is a go-to parenting technique with mom. That she doesn't want to get in the car, so mom calls the police. And that is concerning to me because obviously in a time of strained relationships at baseline, on top of that, not have the ability to communicate or to come to any compromise, but instead refer to the police for parenting is definitely of concern.
Now, in your investigation, have you received material that Mrs. Goldschmidt has sent to professional associates of Dr. Goldschmidt?
Yes.
What's the nature of the information that you received from Dr. Goldschmidt?
There were two instances. The first was an email from a woman who was a donor to a Beautiful Faces program that Dr. Goldschmidt and Mr. Goldschmidt's practice does for, I believe, Beth Palace.
Dr. Goldschmidt set up a foundation that he performs cleft palate surgery to foreign children who can't afford to have that transformational surgery, correct?
That's my understanding.
They play hockey, they raise money, they have sponsorships and the like. Is that right?
I believe so.
Did Dr. Goldschmidt indicate to you that she called or contacted one of the major donors and said that Dr. Goldschmidt was a fraud, he was stealing money and the like, and not to engage in this type of humanitarian relief?
So he did advise me of that.
Aside from receiving the verbal description, did you receive documentation substantiating what Dr. Goldschmidt claimed?
I saw an email to Dr. Goldschmidt, to Mr. Dr. Goldschmidt from this donor. Did not go into detail per se, but essentially they were pulling their endorsement for concerns that have been raised.
Raised by who?
My understanding is Mrs. Goldschmidt.
So she quelched that philanthropic event that Dr. Goldschmidt was doing for children with cleft palates.
Is that a question, Mr. Stafford?
Yes.
I don't know if that was her intention. However, the effect was a major donor.
What intention do you think she had?
Based on the part of my investigation, there have been several instances of her trying to get Mr. Goldschmidt in trouble with the medical board.
Did you come to learn that within the last 30 days that Mrs. Goldschmidt contacted radio personalities that Dr. Goldschmidt deals with on a professional basis for his plastic surgery clinic?
I did see an email.
Did Dr. Goldschmidt indicate to you that she told people that he was a sexual abuser, a physical abuser, a fraud, a cheat, and the like?
That is what the email revealed.
So you received an email from a radio personality that had been contacted by Mrs. Goldschmidt outlining a multitude of damaging reputational issues in this case, correct?
Correct. This morning I received a hard copy from your client, and we'll follow up with the sender.
Can I just ask a question there from, Mr. Wilbur, do you know in fact where those emails originated from, the two emails that you just testified to?
So I did contact the first woman who said that she would not talk to me because it was not effective as interest of the children. I did not know that her relationship to mom, but then when Mrs. Goldschmidt filed her motion in opposition to my motion for determining father's residential parent, she attached an exhibit, which is an email from this woman, Catherine Willow, to mom about my reaching out to her.
Okay, but do you in fact know who the originator is of both of those emails?
So the first email, yes, was from Catherine Willow, W-I-L-L-O-W. The second email I just got this morning, so I've not had an opportunity to follow up on that one.
Okay, but at this point in time, you don't know if Dr. and Mrs. Goldschmidt is the one that sent these emails, one to the donor, right, or to the radio personnel.
So with the donor, no, I don't have the actual, I can't say that I know for a fact that she sent it. I have the email in response to that, and then I have my correspondence
So
with
we
the
have these
donor.
emails disparaging Dr. and Mr. Goldschmidt, correct?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. The email that you received today from the radio personality that was sent by Mrs. Goldschmidt, did you have an opportunity to review it?
I did.
Did you have a chance to review what the exact allegations were in the email?
Yes,
Are they consistent with every allegation that she's made in this case?
they are.
Are you aware of any reason why Mrs. Goldschmidt would send that type of letter to a professional affiliated sponsor of Dr. Goldschmidt's clinic? Any reason that you were aware of?
I can only assume it was to cause harm to that relationship.
Is it in your ward's best interest for their father to have his state medical license revoked?
No.
Is it in the children's best interest for their father to be investigated on claims of sexual molestation or grooming?
No.
Did Dr. Goldschmidt indicate to you that she stole his passport out of the house from you?
She did advise me of that. I don't have corroboration though.
And have you ever found Dr. Goldschmidt to lie to you?
No.
Is there any reason why he would claim that suddenly she took his passport?
Not that I can think of, no.
How about, did Dr. Goldschmidt indicate to you that she tore up his license, his temporary license plate off of his car?
He did advise me of that.
Any reason to disbelieve that?
No reason.
Did you investigate also the police reports of Mrs. Goldschmidt's conflict with her neighbors on the street?
I have spoken with both Mrs. and Mr. Goldschmidt about that. There are some police reports, again, nothing that was really enlightening, but enough to give me a general sense.
Now, do you recall if when the child went to Abuja after the spring break telephone conference with the
I'm
court?
sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'll rephrase it. We had a telephone conference with the court in her honor addressing the spring break in the house, correct?
Yes.
From your investigation and participation, Dr. Goldschmidt had notified the intent to exercise vacation in January, correct, on Family Wizard?
He did so in accordance with the rules I previously had asked the parties to sign off on, yes.
He had purchased tickets, had plans made, correct?
Yes.
Shortly before he was scheduled to leave, Mom raised an issue that she wanted to take the children on spring break at the exact same time, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
We had a telephone conference where the court advised, get it resolved or no one goes.
Correct.
Dr. Goldschmidt, did he suggest several alternatives to resolve the issue?
He did.
Were all of those alternatives rational?
They were.
Were they in the spirit of Judge Goldberg's instruction to come up with a resolution?
I believe so.
Do you believe that his proposals were in the best interest of the minor children?
I do.
How were his proposals met?
By resistance. Initially, it was a matter of him taking the kids at all. Then he had offered to split it on Wednesday, so they would go from Friday through Wednesday with him, and then Wednesday through Friday with Mom. I believe he even offered to drive the children up to where her parents lived. And that was, initially, that was outright dismissed. Thereafter, she did agree to 50-50, however, she wanted the children first, the first 4 days, which I believe caused disruption.
How did the children respond to Mom's behavior as it relates to the spring break issue in the household?
So my understanding is that they were very upset, in particular Abby, who locked herself in the bathroom.
Who was Abby upset with?
Mother.
Did you find that Abby's response to Mom was appropriate?
Abby's response?
Yes.
No, I believe Abby went over the top. However, given the fact that she's a teenage girl, it's not outside of reason.
Mom then reports that Abby's going to kill herself. Correct? Did she notify Dad?
I'm not aware if she did.
And did the parties end up at the hospital?
They did.
Can you describe your investigation of the events at the hospital?
What date is this, Mr. Stafford?
I want to say April 4th. Was that a Friday?
Yeah, it was Friday. I think it was
March. It was March, wasn't it?
March 24th.
So they arrived at the hospital. Mrs. Goldschmidt had advised them that her daughter had suicidal ideation, and that she wanted her admitted. Mr. Goldschmidt had found out that she was there. He went there as well, and he advocated for her to be able to go home.
And was there a decision about releasing the child to go home?
So the actual medical decision was, as far as my understanding, is a no-brainer. They noted that there was nothing that indicated any suicidal plans, any thoughts other than making a threat to Mom out of desperation or anger. The issue arose, that was bad enough, but then on top of that, the issue arose as to who was to take Abby home.
And let's be clear. Mom's at the hospital, correct?
Yes.
The child is, from your understanding, upset with Mother.
Yes.
The child is upset being at the hospital as well as having to involve herself any additional time with Mom at that juncture.
Correct.
This is at approximately 11, 12 o'clock at night.
I believe so.
What is your understanding of Mom's demands and behavior at the hospital?
So according to the records, the issue really arose after the fact, after they discharged her, and the question was with whom she should go home. Mother, yet again, had pointed to this temporary restraining order that was not only not applicable, but wasn't even, at that point in time, an order of the court. The had called an attendant in, who made the final decision and basically said
Say that again, the what?
the attending physician to come in to make the final decision, and she has stated that she believes if Abby went home with Mother, that the emotional distress would be overwhelming.
So, Father took Abby, correct?
Yes.
And Mom, well, following that, Mom has told, are you aware if Mom has told people that she scoured the community with the police to find Abby after the release and discharge?
That's my understanding.
Do you find that to be remotely accurate?
I don't have proof one way or the other. However, I have the definitive statement of the attending that Abby is to go with her father.
Is that in a medical record?
Which,
What you just stated?
the emotional distress?
With regard to the attending physician?
Who handled the hospitalization issue appropriately for the minor child's best interest in physical and mental well-being that night?
I believe Mr. Goldschmidt was appropriate on top of all the other insults that had occurred to Abby, including the police involvement, including the canceling of the vacation. On top of that, to forcefully try and get her admitted to the hospital, I thought was inappropriate and damaging.
Even despite this child being hospitalized for a suicide attempt, as referenced by Mom, she still continues to call the police on the child, correct?
Yes.
And these requests for police involvement, these are minor, everyday parenting type of issues, correct?
Either parenting issues or fear of Mr. Goldschmidt.
Fear of Mr. Goldschmidt by Mom.
Alleged by mother, yes.
Now, she also recently called the Orange Police because of domestic violence by Abby, correct?
Correct.
So she called the police alleging that Abby was violent against her within the last 60 days?
I believe so. I've spoken with the officer. I don't have that record yet, though.
Has she made claims to the police that Matt has abducted the children?
I believe so.
Find that to be in the children's best interest?
To make those allegations?
Correct.
No, I have nothing corroborating those allegations.
Mr. Wilbur, when conflict has arisen, who has attempted to diffuse the conflict between the parents?
It has been Mr. Goldschmidt. In fact, I recently spoke to Officer Ramsey at Orange Village, who said that Mr. Goldschmidt was always very cooperative. There were instances where he's backed down, and he and I have spoken about this, and I appreciate it, even though at that point in time there may be some conflict between the mother and the children. Obviously, there has to be somebody to back down so it doesn't rise to an even higher level.
And as it relates to the children, when Dr. Goldschmidt punches in Family Wizard that he'd like to do things with the kids, has he encountered difficulty with the children being present when they're supposed to be there?
My understanding is yes.
Who has always been the cause of the problem of the children not being made available when he's supposed to have the kids?
So it appears to be Mrs. Goldschmidt. Again, I've not really communicated with her well the last few weeks. She's been non-responsive and reserved. However, according to the correspondence that goes back and forth on our Family Wizard, it appears that Mr. Goldschmidt makes appointments with the children, and that sometimes he comes to the home when they're not available or they have conflicting appointments.
Scheduled by Mom?
Yes.
And again, when the kids aren't there, Dr. Goldschmidt has been forced to wait hours for the kids to arrive.
And my understanding that, at least on one occasion, yes.
Dr. Goldschmidt changes plans and the like, correct?
Mrs. Goldschmidt?
Dr. Goldschmidt changes his own plans to accommodate the kids not being there.
That is my understanding, yes.
Now, there was a restraining order in this case that, on an ex parte basis, that Dr. Goldschmidt wasn't allowed to take the kids out of state, including for hockey games, correct?
Without consent, yes.
Dr. Goldschmidt was one of the girls' coaches for their travel hockey teams, correct?
For Abby, yes.
And your investigation, the hockey team routinely travels out of state for games.
Every weekend.
And your understanding in investigation is that there's a application or an app for scheduling hotels and the like, team snap for the girls' hockey team.
Correct.
And in your investigation, do you know if Mrs. Goldschmidt has contacted her parents on the team to explain what a bad guy her husband is, who happens to be the coach of the children?
I don't know as to the specific content of communication. I know that she's called to make inquiries. In particular, she has called on numerous occasions to check up on Abby when she is at one of these tournaments.
Mrs. Goldschmidt also would attempt to have other parents take the child to, like, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, instead of Dr. Goldschmidt, the parent, correct?
Yes, and in one instance, she didn't even want the parent to take the child to hockey.
Was her position, stance, remotely rational based on your investigation?
No, in fact that one instance, the end of January, was kind of the first red flag that there were concerns here. That she indicated to me that she'd be giving up her motherly rights if she let a friend drive Abby to, I believe it was Buffalo or Erie.
You've received Mrs. medical and psych records.
I have, yes.
Do you believe that she has given you a fair and full disclosure of her previous medical and psychiatric history?
No, she is not.
What do you believe that she has done concerning her psychiatric history?
She mentioned that she had depression and that she was diagnosed some time ago. I believe she was on Paxil for a limited amount of time. According to the record, she has PTSD, depression, adult abuse, and abuse as when she is an adult, and abuse when she was a child.
Do you believe that there's more there, and that you need additional time to investigate the full scope of her mental health and potential mental illness?
I'm not a psychologist, obviously. Either there is more there, or what she currently has is not currently being treated for in an adequate manner.
In your investigation, has there been notations in the police reports that mom has been under the influence of alcohol when they have been summoned on these issues of conflict with the children? Or
there's been at least one instance where she was drinking and she wanted to drive the children, was advised by the officers not to.
So she wanted to drive the children under the influence of however much she had been drinking, correct?
According to the reports, yes.
Does that cause you concern for the safety and well-being of your children with wards?
It does.
Does that cause you concern about the mental stability for her to make decisions for these minor children?
It does.
Now, you would agree, mom in this case has made both serious and outlandish accusations.
I do.
Matter of fact, she's made accusations against you.
She has.
She thinks that you are not doing your job,
Correct.
that you are being manipulated either by myself or Dr. Goldschmidt,
Correct.
and that you are biased and unprofessional.
She noted to the social worker at Orange that I hated her before I even met her.
Now, I want to be clear. You participated in the court's last pre-trial with the trial magistrate for Judge Goldberg, correct?
I did.
Do you recall the representations that were being made concerning the termination of professional services of Ms. Goldschmidt to her attorney?
I do.
What was the representation that the attorney made about why she was getting off the case made to the trial court magistrate?
To the best of my recollection, she said that she had been terminated.
Is that completely different than what you heard today in the statement of Mrs. Goldschmidt?
It is.
Do you believe much, if anything, that Mrs. Goldschmidt says?
Everything that she does say to me, I do try and investigate as much as I can and substantiate it, because there definitely have been a pattern of information that's either been hyperbolic or that has simply been false.
Do you believe, what concerns do you have for the minor child with the amount of information that she has received and mom's relationship with her as a 12-year-old?
My concern for Marissa is that she and mom do have a good relationship, but she's definitely privy to way too much information with regard to the divorce, number one, and number two, the co-sleeping is a concern of mine as well.
Do you
So what
believe,
things on your net?
The co-sleeping?
Thank you.
do you believe that mom inappropriately commiserates and uses the child as a emotional crutch or audience for her issues involving the divorce?
For Marissa, I do.
Do you believe that's in her, do you believe that that's detrimental to her best interest?
I do.
Do you believe that it's detrimental to her mental health and well-being?
I do.
Abby's 15. She has had significant conflict with mother, correct?
Correct.
Who do you believe is the antagonist in that conflict, based on your investigation?
I believe it goes both ways. However, the point is that Abby is a 15-year-old girl. Mother should, I believe, have an ability or a better ability to handle this. Abby did indicate to me yesterday that when things are bad with mom, they're really bad.
Does Dr. Goldschmidt indicate to you that mom drinks when she takes her medication?
I don't recall that exact allegation.
Now, Does he make sound educational decisions for the minor children?
I believe so.
Does he engage the children appropriately for activities that the children engage in?
Yes.
Your investigation revealed that he is actively involved with the children?
Yes.
Do you believe that his parenting style is appropriate and benefits the health and well-being of the minor children?
I do.
Do you believe that he provides a safer and healthier home environment for the minor children than mother currently does?
I do.
Do you believe that there are significant concerns for the children's safety and well-being in the care of their mother?
I do.
The additional information that now that an alleged sexual abuser is living in the household with the minor children, does that now cause you additional concerns?
It is concerning. Again, I do want to investigate.
You believe that it is appropriate that you investigate the allegations fully?
I do.
Is that an additional concern that you did not have before hearing these statements today?
It is.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
All right, this is great. Okay.
All rise.
Just, for the record, we can get on the record. So when we come back from, we're going to go to a break, and we will come back in about 45 minutes. You'll be able to cross-examine, Jonathan Doyle, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. 45 minutes? Thank you. Do you need anything from your understanding?
I want to go to the bathroom. Yeah. Okay. All right, I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah. So. The fact that she let me go without representation. Right, right. I did? Or? Yeah. Right. Hi. So, did you read my email? I mean, not my email, the thing that I filed yesterday. Did you read through? Because they didn't. They had to have not. I sent it. There's no way.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Thank you. Okay. No, but it's not on the docket, and she knows it's not on the docket. It's on the docket?
Yes. Because she said it. She's like, yeah, we received it yesterday.
No, she said, yeah, she said she received it yesterday, but,
It's in, I saw it, it's in the docket.
oh, it is in the docket, even though I objected.
I mean, it can be objected, like whatever it is that they put it can be objected, it can be everything that you file is gonna be on the court docket. But now, like if she's acting on it, like, I'm not sure, I don't know if you did like a proper time, I don't know if, this was gonna be addressed on that part too.
So basically, she didn't grant me my motion of objection, she was hearing
She was
everything
supposed-
anyway.
Well, she's supposed to like grant it or deny it.
Right.
And I don't know if because it was filed too short, like in such a short amount of time, she might not have time to
Oh, she said she did. Did you hear her?
answer.
She said she
She
saw
said she
it.
received it, she saw it.
Right. So she read it. You're thinking she didn't read it?
No, I think she read it, but I mean, she has to, I don't know.
If she read it,
If she read it and she would say like, yeah, we're not gonna address that, but I mean, it seems that they're addressing it.
yeah, you know why? The first thing she said, she doesn't like these things to go more than 18 months. So, I kind of think she made her decision.
Yeah, and went on.
What?
And went on and do it.
And
Like,
went-
it went on and like, and they're having a hearing about it.
Yeah, but how do I, so now I have to cross-examine him myself? I don't even know how to cross-examine someone. I think that's ridiculous. That's why, and she knows, she even said, she's not an attorney, and she needs an attorney, she can't cross-examine, so.
So I'm gonna get a paper that says like what you can cross-examine about. You
Okay.
can only ask questions about what he testified.
You mean the things that he's already said?
Yes. So one.
Can I get a copy of the, everything that the lady just wrote down, so that I can address those issues?
No,
Oh.
you're supposed to pay attention.
Okay. I was paying attention and I took some notes, but I think I need to sit down for a few minutes and write some of my things. But I really don't think
Like
that.
the pictures, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not an attorney. I can't give you any legal advice. But I mean, when the trials are in, one of the things when he says that he's so afraid of you and about the scratches, I mean, like, why didn't you go to the police?
Right.
station? That's why you should.
I know,
when
I
you
have that
talk-
written
When
down.
you talk about
When
the
I
police
tore
station.
down the curtains, I have recordings of him saying, "You took those curtains from house to house. I handmade them. I took them out of that room because I didn't want him to ruin them." And why there's light bulbs missing? They forgot to say there's toilet paper missing too. I wasn't getting support, so I wasn't going to go out and stock up on toilet paper and light bulbs. We took them from the room that was barely being used.
I mean, that's really
And the lock being drilled out. Oh my God, that was the day after 911 came out because he locked up Marissa in the room because he was co-sleeping with her.
on that part right there. I mean, I think that the guardian lawyer should even say anything because he wasn't involved in that situation. And he only hears what other people are saying about it.
Yeah. I think what I need to do is
You need to write down.
I need to
everything.
write down. Do you have like a legal pad or some paper I can jot some notes on? Because I was writing them
Yeah.
backwards. Okay. And I
So with all these emails, all this stuff going on, I mean, is that true? I mean, have you been emailing all these people?
No, nothing is true. The major donor that backed out is a friend of mine who didn't want to pay her $75 fee to participate in the tournament because she asked me where the money was going because it was my charity that I established, but then he opened up the bank account, and then when I went to find out what was going on with the bank account, they couldn't tell me. They said I'm not authorized on my own bank account. So then all this other stuff was going on. She just got divorced like 3 weeks ago. She's a good friend of mine. And so she knew, she's my friend, my support. She knew what was going on in the divorce. And she's like, I'm not going to participate in the charity tournament if you don't know the whereabouts of the money.
Okay, so then, what is the email that he said that a major donor said that. You
There's
have
no
to.
such thing. There's so many. Beechwood Mall never happened. What the reason why I went to the Beechwood police is when he disappeared from Ahuja.
Right.
I went to the Beechwood police the following day because I went first to the Orange police and I said,
Well,
He disappeared.
what he's saying is like, how come that you knew that to go to Beechwood?
because when I went to the Orange police, they said Ahuja is in the Beechwood district. You're in the wrong police department.
Okay, well then you write that down. It's like,
Right.
it's like, do you know where this is? When
Yeah.
you make the police report? The restraining order is
I mean, the judge knows what the restraining order is.
yeah, but it's what it says right there is that the whereabouts, and then that he should be telling you, and then you should say like, you know, like why was it so hard for him to tell me where he was?
Yeah.
You know, if he said that he's so willingly, like would it be easier if he says, because he's looking at it like he's accommodating everything to you,
I know.
and you're the one who's being very difficult in everything, every
Sure.
aspect that it is.
Vince is a great lawyer.
The point, so
He's a great lawyer. He's gonna make me look so bad. My father never sexually molested me. Oh my God. My father like went against and put somebody in jail for being a child molester.
okay, well, I wouldn't say anything like that. I would say like, was any record showing that it was my dad? So can you say? I just think that that's one, or like he's bringing up that concern to the guardian ad litem, and that's something that you can address.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank God my father wasn't there, because he would have had a heart attack with those accusations. Because he was freaking out when he read the hospital report that he had some mental disability. I started smoking 6 months ago. Do you care if I go have a cigarette?
No, please go. No problem. Think about, you know, everything that he said.
I will. Can I borrow like a notepad and can I go like sit outside here and have a cigarette? If there's no like lock, whatever. I won't get locked out. I have 30, 40 minutes. Okay.
So if you go around this hole,
Yes.
you're gonna see a door that will come in. Okay, so just go around.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
I, you know, I don't know. I guess I wasn't prepared to be doing this, but I think that she's doing it to get it over with.
I mean, it's been 18 months.
I know.
So it's over there in front.
Yeah, but for me to not to have an attorney in my mind, because I know she's a fair judge, I'm hoping is because it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Because of what I wrote, and they didn't read it, and they were addressing those things as if they didn't know what I wrote. Because they would have been irate in defending those things.
Could be. I don't know.
I'm gonna think of
Go
this.
have a cigarette. Yeah.
Okay.